Mel Kiper just dropped his 2024 NFL mock draft 1.0. And yeah, I'm going to react to it. Let me just go into it. Caleb Williams, number one. It really feels like it's leaning that way. I mean, we don't know what they do. It makes too much sense financially and you know what, team fit wise, just talent wise, prospect wise, for them to go in that direction. But when you add the financial into it, it makes too much sense. Jaden Daniels, Drake May, 2 and 3. I see this reversed. Drake is just the better prospect. I think they're going to lean towards quarterback, the Commanders, no matter what. But Drake is the better prospect. If they like Jaden more for their system, sure. Jaden is a great quarterback. I think Drake is also really good too. And New England, they're going to take the other one of the three. I just think they learned their lesson with Mac Jones, or not even learned their lesson, just realized he's not the guy. And they probably want a generational guy. Arizona just makes too much sense for Marvin Harrison Jr. They've put that out all year. Chargers, number 5, Brock Bowers. I think they lean towards receiver, but Brock Bowers makes sense too. Joe Alt has also been thrown in that conversation, and the argument to move him to O-line, that has also been there. I think they go receiver, and I think the Giants take the other receiver of the big three, of Rome, MHJ, and Malik. Giants fans would love Malik. They have said it. I've seen it all online. They love Malik. And giving Daniel, if you can't get a top guy and to replace Daniel Jones, then give Daniel Jones a top guy at the other position. Number 7, Joe Alt. That offensive line was awful last year. I know their new quarterback or their new coach, Brian Callahan, is coming from a place that doesn't prioritize offensive line, but I think he does here. I just think he does. Skoronski was a draft pick a year ago. They might go receiver just because of that, but Skoronski is getting moved to guard. And I think taking offensive line and getting as much help as you can, because that offensive line was bad, really helps Skoronski as well. And Joe Alt is a great, great prospect. Taking him does not hurt you at all. Dallas Turner. Falcons are going to get a defensive coach. It feels like it's going to be Belichick. They're doing second interviews with everyone though. And Calais Campbell, Bud Dupree are their best guys on the edge. And both of them are about to retire. They need help. They've needed help for 8 years on the defensive line. It feels like they are one of the worst teams in the league when it gets to pass rush. And Dallas Turner would help them a lot. Romeo Dunzee's the pick here. Kiper did for the Bears. And I agree, if he's there, take him. He's a good slot. He was incredible in college. The only question is he going to be there? And if he's not, you could lean towards Fashanu or Alt, if Alt's there, to replace Braxton Jones. If you feel like Braxton Jones is your guy, you can go towards D-line and helping on the other side for Montez Sweat. Latu, Jared Verse. If Dallas Turner's there, take Dallas Turner. Okay. Fashanu. Jets have made it clear they want to tackle. If Fashanu, Alt is taken, and Latham, Fuaga, anyone else they don't trust, I really do see them taking Brock Bowers, because that's been thrown out there. But Mekhi Becton's a free agent. Broderick Jones, you couldn't get him last year. Fashanu just makes too much sense. He's arguably the best tackle in this draft. Vikings are unpredictable because every year everyone thinks they're going to take defense. They do some random pick. But I see it here. Brian Flores really got the most of the roster last year. But that talent's not there for everyone. And I could see them going to get Nate Wiggins. I could see them leaning towards Jerzon Newton. I could see them leaning towards Terrion Arnold, Cooper DeJean, Kool-Aid McKinstry. Those guys are what I lean towards here. Nate Wiggins is a great fit for this defense under Brian Flores. Latu for the Broncos. He's the most talented edge in this class, in my opinion. Injury concerns is the only thing that holds him back. He is very, very, very talented, though. And this team struggled at the beginning of the year because they were mostly playing Frank Clark and older guys on the D-line instead of playing their younger guys. And then they put in their younger guys, and they were better, but they weren't that great. I mean, they were decent. And I think Latu or Jared Verse, or if Dallas Turner's there, Dallas Turner could come in and immediately create havoc for the other side of the ball, for the opposing offenses. Raiders. Corner is probably what most people are going to lean towards for positional need. outside of like Nate Jacobs, they don't have a good corner room, and they're not really great at drafting corners. But Terry Arnold's a good pick. He fits really well under what Patrick Graham and Antonio Pierce have done. I think Kool-Aid could be good too, but Nate Wiggins and Terry Arnold are my best scheme fits for them. Saints are interesting because Shaheed and Thomas, Michael Thomas is probably not going to be on this team next year, and Shaheed, I think, is a free agent. But yeah, I think Brian Thomas could be interesting. They don't really draft LSU guys. They go for LSU guys in free agency. But tackle could also be interesting because Daisy Latham, Fuaga, they're going to probably need tackle help just because Ramczyk might retire. And they've needed help on the left side of the line ever since Teron Armstead left in free agency and Trevor Penning did not really work out. Keon Coleman for the Colts doesn't really make sense to me. I think they're going to bring Pittman back. His connection with both quarterbacks in the roster was displayed throughout the whole year. He was phenomenal, and you want a guy on your roster like that. And Keon just isn't a great fit next to him. Josh Downs and Alec Pierce could make sense because they played really well. But I think Keon is just a big-bodied receiver like Pittman. And if they're going to take a receiver, I think you got to take a faster guy. But I don't see a receiver that's not worthy of top 10 and that would be going in the 10 to 15 or 10 to 20 range. This is the spot. The picks from 10 to 20 I see are the corners and the tackles and the edges. I don't really see receivers going here unless Keon Coleman shoots up boards again. I don't think he was the issue at Florida State. I think it was just a scheme issue playing next to Johnny Wilson. It limited him a little bit. He did have a lot of touchdowns, though. J.J. McCarthy shocks me. I don't know why Kiper did that. I just don't. We don't know. Maybe he was just throwing out a pick that would be in the first round that surprises everyone. They don't have a new coach yet. We don't know what they do. They're going to need a new quarterback soon. It makes a lot of sense they go here. I just don't know if he's the guy. Jacksonville. They're going to get either a corner, O-line help, or D-line help if Josh Allen leaves. Cooper DeJean makes a lot of sense, though, in their scheme. And I think he's very, very talented. If you want to lean towards offensive line, because their offensive line sucked last year, I think they could make sense too. J.C. Latham makes too much sense for the Bengals. It's a nonsense pick. Jonah Williams is a free agent. He wasn't very good in the first place. But if you want to look towards replacing DJ Reader, Jerzon is right there. And Devondre Sweat is going to rise up people's boards. Also, Byron Murphy, the second from Texas, his Devondre Sweat's teammate. Jared Verse makes a lot of sense for the Rams, but I also see secondary help. Byron Young and Kobe Turner were very great. They could look to get more on their defensive line that was pretty thin. And Jared Verse is very, very, very good. People, he's very, very good. He has top 10 potential. He had top 10 potential last year. So yeah, I see Jared Verse just being around this range, but I don't know if the Rams are the team that would go get him. Maybe Jerzon. They could get Jerzon. Pittsburgh. Kamari Lassiere. Yeah, I see that happening. I see corner as a big need for them. They might lean towards Kool-Aid if Kool-Aid falls. And Kool-Aid's been falling for people now, which is weird. But Kamari Lassiere is very good. Troy Fautanu for the Dolphins. I don't know if that makes sense because, well, guard is good, but guard is not their biggest need. And Robert Hunt is a free agent. Connor Williams is a free agent. I lean towards more Maurice Mims, Fuaga if Fuaga's there. Fuaga is the next pick, though, and Lane Johnson is old. I just don't know if they lean towards taking a tackle right away. They're going to make changes in the offensive line. If Kelsey's actually retiring, they're going to need to make changes, and Johnson is 2 years away from probably retiring. Fuaga would be a good pick, but I just don't know if this is the time they decide to do it. It matches what Howie has always done. But receiver might be there because a lot of their receivers are free agents. Jerzon would be a good fit for Houston. They have a lot of holes in their roster, and they bring back Grenard. They might bring back Rankins, but Jerzon is such a phenomenal athlete. The question is, does he fall to them? Dallas, they're going to probably take a tackle. They love offensive line. They can't really draft defensive line. They don't really draft defensive well at all. Micah Parsons was just a lucky pick for them. Tyron Smith is going to be a free agent. He was a second-team All-Pro, but he's really old. He's really injury prone, And Zach Martin is really old too. If Dallas decides to go in a rebuild in the next 2 to 3 years, I think they start building offensive line now. Kingsley for Green Bay makes sense. I think they look at tackle. I think they look at safety as well, since their safety room is pretty thin, especially with most of them going to free agency. Cameron Kitchens could be the pick here too. Tampa Bay, they need help on the defensive line. I don't care how many free agents they have. They'll look to bring back Winfield and Mayfield, and probably maybe Mike Evans. I don't know if they bring back both linebackers, Levante and Devin. I bet Devin leaves, but Chop would be a really good fit here. He's so good. He's so talented. Just has to put it all together. Cardinals pick surprises me for Kiper because he is more that they are going to probably look at tackle. Don't get me wrong. I just don't know if they do double offense because they have a defensive head coach and they don't have a lot of talent on the defensive end. If Kool-Aid is at this pick, I 100% believe they take Kool-Aid at 27. Don't get me confused there. Kenyon Mitchell and Ennis Rakestraw, I also see they're very good corners. Buffalo and Kansas City, I'm just going to do them both. They both need receivers. We know what happened with Mahomes and receivers this year. And Buffalo, Stephon Diggs just isn't producing the same way. I don't think it's because he's old. I think it's more of a scheme thing. And I think they let Gabe Davis walk in free agency. If Keon Coleman falls to this pick, I bet he's their guy here. Detroit, I think they look to take a corner. They need secondary help. If it's not a corner, it's like Tyler Nupin or Cameron Kitchens. Actually, not Cameron Kitchens, because more Brian Branch would fit that role that he would have on this team. I think they lean towards corner. And Kenyon Mitchell is a great, great corner. Ennis Rakestraw is also a great corner who performed very well on a Missouri team that was top 10 for a lot of the year. The Ravens are going to have a lot of free agents and a lot of needs after this year, and they're going to have to look to do development and signings through the draft. This is the best their roster's ever been and probably going to be in the Lamar era. And they're going to have to hope that they can draft and develop good enough pieces to make up for some of the losses they'll have. I think they keep Matabuke. I think they keep one of Patrick Queen or Geno Stone, but I think Michael Pierce and Jadeveon Clowney, and one of the two, Patrick Queen or Geno Stone, leaves. And then finally, Marius Mims for the 49ers. I think they go offensive line. That's their biggest need. That's their biggest hole. Outside of Trent Williams, who was pretty old, they don't have a lot of offensive line talent. And Amarius Mims is a great, great place to put, or great prospect to put at right tackle for them. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.